Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi, the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoons and comics, and beyond.
And beyond. Today we are discussing Ewoks #2, Rites of Power. This issue was published by Marvel's Star imprint on April 2nd, 1985.
That's right. And I read
Yeah.
this one on the Marvel Unlimited app. The last time I just read in
Oh.
our, the collection that we both have.
Mhm. The
And I have to
omnibus.
say, the parts that are drab, like backgrounds and stuff, still are drab, but the color is a lot more crisp.
Oh, interesting. Was
Yeah.
I got a weird question. Was the last frame really pixelated and weird? Because
Let's find out.
I was reading through and I got all the way to the last frame and I was like, "Whoa, what happened?" Like I don't know if it was like an issue with the print for that specific page. Like
Oh,
all of them seem to be like lines around each print or whatever block are thin, and in this one it's like really thick and it's
yeah,
really weird and pixelated. Is it that way on
it
the
is. You're right.
That's really strange. There must have been some sort of when they captured that print or something, or I don't know, but I was just like, "Whoa, something
You're
stood
right.
out."
It does
And
seem
like,
pixely. It's weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
huh.
It looks like they only had, like, a tiny, tiny image of it and blew it up. Yeah, weird,
Yes, that's
weird.
exactly what it looks like. Yep, and it just
I
got
didn't
all
notice
messed
that when I
up.
was reading it, but when I go back and look, yeah. Alright, so here's some information. Illustrated by Warren
Okay, yeah.
Kremer, written by David Manek. As we mentioned before, it's collected several times over the years, but you can
Mm,
find this one in Star Wars Ewoks: Flight to Danger. This is with the other, in the first 5.
mm,
Here's an interesting fact that I learned. So our featured creative this week is Walter Kremer, he
mhm.
penciled this issue. He's the illustrator. He worked with Harvey Comics. And remember last time I said it looked like a Harvey comic. It looked like an old school.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not only did this guy work on all of the famous like Harvey comics, he's the co-creator of Richie Rich, one of the,
Oh, no
the most
way!
enduring characters. Yeah. So, like, after his time at
Oh,
Harvey creating Richie Rich and working on Casper and all those other characters, he popped over to this Star imprint that Marvel had going and worked on Ewoks. So we're seeing the pencil work of, the creator of Richie Rich, who is, one of the most enduring comic book characters.
that's funny.
So
Oh
pretty
my
wild.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like small world. Small world,
that's right.
that we realized 40
Yeah,
years later
yeah,
how small it was.
I know.
Oh,
Wild.
man, that's crazy.
I
Yeah,
know.
because it totally looks like that.
Yeah,
I
it
mean, the
does.
color
It does.
it's yeah. It's like this is the kind of comics he deals in, the color, the way that I mean, we have people in this one. We have
I
humans,
know.
and so it's like
That
you can
really
see the way he draws them, yet you're like, "Whoa, okay." It's almost like somebody else drew the
I
people.
know. I know. That really stood out to me because I wanted to ask you about this. Is this the only time we see people outside of that last episode when they're on the Death Star or whatever? Is this the only time we see like humanoid people in the cartoon even,
Humanoid?
right? Because
I
I don't remember seeing like a dude. Do you?
No, not in the first 2 seasons. I'm, like, trying to flip through the omnibus here. I don't think we really see people, like humans, until we get to droids.
Yeah.
That's when we that's
Yeah.
when we really actually see I mean, you kinda have to see people at that point because
Yeah.
the
I mean,
droids are
the
created by
Death
humans.
Star episode, like the final episode of the cartoon, you do, but you're kind of up on the planet. It just feels like a different thing. So to see like just like humanoid
That's
people
true, yeah.
chasing them through the woods of Endor, I thought it just stood out to me. It startled me. It's interesting.
That's right,
I
the very
liked it.
last episode.
I know.
But they're Star Wars people, so you just immediately accept it really with, like,
Right.
"Oh, there's people. Oh, okay."
Yep.
And then you roll right into it.
You roll.
This one I was like, "Oh, people. Oh, people."
Yeah.
It's just I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get to why
Yes. Sorry.
I
Let's do
thought
it.
that way, but
Let's do it.
but
Let's
yeah,
get
let's,
into the
let's
plot.
first, let's get through the uber detailed plot of Rites of Power, Ewoks #2. Wicket and Tebow are stuck on scout duty while Princess Nisa celebrates her birthday with Latara and the rest of the Bright Tree Village. Suddenly, Captain Krang and his band of Zorbian space pirates emerge from the forest on a quest to obtain a gemwood tree from the Ewoks. Wood from this tree is said to be the most valuable thing in the universe. Caught off guard while daydreaming, Tebow and Wicket are attacked. Tebow is incapacitated by a pirate's bolo, and Wicket manages to escape, though badly injured, to warn the village. The pirates scheme to set a trap for the village warriors. Meanwhile, back at the village, festivities are high as Nisa receives a gift prepared in advance by Wicket and Tebow and Logray. The gift is none other than Bega. Bega. Nisa is given another gift by her father, Chief Chirpa. It is a ruling staff made from a branch of the gemstone tree. The village elders are furious of Chirpa's plans to elevate his daughter to chief when he's gone. Before a huge argument ensues, Wicket stumbles into the party with word of Tebow and the pirates. Immediately, the warriors are called up and leave, unfortunately leaving Nisa behind. With the village warriors all gone, Nisa and Logray tend to Wicket. The village warriors quickly find the spaceship and spot Tebow bound and gagged in front of it. The warriors swiftly untie Tebow, but are quickly trapped by the pirates' net. With all the warriors trapped, the pirates make their way to the village unhindered. Back at the village, Latara spots the incoming Zorbian pirates. Quickly, Nisa rallies the women and children of the camp to help combat the incoming pirates. When they arrive, several traps are waiting for them. All are ensnared or incapacitated, but the Zorbian leader, Crag. He corners Nisa after tripping Bega with his bolo, but before he can capture the princess, Latara dumps a huge kettle of honey on the pirate leader. With the village safe, the village elders now see why Chirpa planned to make Nisa their chief. Leadership does not only come from the ability to wield a spear. Wicket and Tebow have but one request from Princess Nisa, their future leader, to have a piece of cake. And with that, Nisa suddenly remembers that it's her birthday. Roll credits.
Boom.
Except there are none.
There's no credits, but there's an emotional credit that rolls at this point.
Page turn.
We fade away into a pixelated final square,
yeah.
And that's it.
It's really strange that it is like that.
It is really weird. Here's what strikes me about this one. I guess this is a prequel. I guess this is set before the whole series.
100%. It's got to be. I mean, did you look at Bega? Bega looks like a unicorn almost in this one. Like really, like a lot of hair.
Yeah, but I feel like Baga was like there right from the beginning. I don't think this predates his appearance. And the whole concept of Nisa taking over as chief is just like established in the show. They're like, yeah, Nisa's taking over as chief.
Yeah, I think that's just known that that's gonna happen.
This kind of has to be set before.
And I went back and looked at like the conversation that was had because I was just like, was it that he didn't consult the elders?
Yeah.
But then there was we've never had a female chief before.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, well, maybe that's it, that they're upset at that. I think it really was the fact that they were not expecting it to be Nisa, but wouldn't they have known that already?
Yeah,
is this a significant birthday then?
Well, I think it's I think it is because she's a girl and they're like, we must have a man. Because I'm pretty sure in other things that we've read, it was kind of established that Chief Chirpa's father was chief. And so it seems like like a whatever, a dynasty or whatever.
Yeah, when Logray was a young one, remember we had a flashback and Chirpa's father was chief at that
so time. It's like if the leadership role is passed down from generation to generation, they're just like, this is an upset because he doesn't have a son. But I just thought that whole thing about like, I feel like we got more character developed and like interesting things about like the Ewok society than we got in all of the show.
I know, and they teased it, and then it was just kind of like, oh yeah. I mean, I guess they did kind of come around to it with like the elders being like, all right, yep, here's your staff, we agree, or you showed us that, I thought that was good.
Yeah, when it's sort of up to her against Crag and she like, shows that she is worthy or whatever, they're like, yeah, all right. So, no, I thought that was cool.
What was your impressions of this one, this Ewoks?
Well, when we first saw like the creature thing, I was like, okay, so we're introducing new. And when it was like, it's Baga, I was kind of like, oh, okay. So we're like kind of this is a flashback essentially. This whole issue
Yeah.
was like a flashback. So I thought like seeing Baga's origins were cool. And then when it rolled into basically like Nisa year one, I thought that was kind of cool
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
no, I was a fan. I really feel like all the pieces to this. I liked seeing people. I
Mhm.
liked having the whole like Nisa's got to step up here, with this like
Yep.
important birthday. I liked seeing how Baga came into their lives and stuff, and I liked the little line about how Wicket and Tebow had been secretly training Baga this whole time so that she'd be ready and everything. So I was really happy with this one. I thought it was
Yeah.
cool. It felt like a more detailed story than we saw a lot in season 2.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
I
it's right
wonder
on
what this
par
would
with
have
the
been
first
like.
issue. Yeah, I think it would have been a good episode.
A good episode. I think it would have been a good episode too, and
Yeah,
I think they would have. I, man, I really wish they did have this one like before we even saw Baga. But we saw Baga like I think we saw Baga the first
I think
episode.
so. I think
It was
so.
like
Yeah,
one of the first things in the first episode, wasn't it? Like, wasn't
I
Baga
think
like
so.
running crazy through the
Yeah.
village or something like that?
You're
And
probably right that there wasn't a whole lot of like communication and stuff, but I feel like maybe the one criticism I would have is that because it's dealing with things that were pretty well established, we could have just had like one scene of Nisa being like, "Oh, remember that birthday I had?" Flashback, 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 or like
yeah, like
something like that. I think would have been
you
nice,
hate to
but
see it happen when there's an opportunity for creative teams to kind
yeah,
of where I mean, that's what we get now, right? Isn't every Marvel thing out there, every DC thing,
Star
the
Wars
people
too.
making the movies or
Yeah,
yeah, the Star Wars people, everyone's like, what last time I or a couple times ago I realized that that ship that they were on, the Halcyon, is also the name of the hotel at
yeah,
Disney. And I'm
right.
like, oh,
Yeah,
that's almost like it's too much,
yeah.
and
It
that
is.
was really, I
It
don't know,
is.
I still think
Well,
that's a
yeah, I mean,
dumb
it's not a
name.
big deal. It doesn't really affect the enjoyment of the issue. I just feel like that might have been a thing that would kind of frame it a little bit better because they had to be like, we are going to tell an origin story about these elements. So,
Exactly, yeah.
well, what was your Oak of Arc moment?
For me, it was the pirates' armor, their
Oh,
clothing.
yeah,
That, like, I feel like that era or every science fiction thing has, like, the quintessential Roman soldier
yeah,
enemy in it. I mean, just think of, like, Star Trek, the original series, where
yep,
you're like have that one episode where, like, "Oh, okay, there's Romans." And, like, that, like, whole kilt and battle sash with helmet is just done to death. Like,
hmm
every comic has that from this era and drawn in this style too. And
yeah,
so it's strange to me that, like, Star Wars was out. This is 1985.
yeah,
Like, you had a basis of which to draw an alien, and you drew him with a skirt and a commando sash that looks like it's a bandolier that would hold bullets, but they're
yeah.
holding bolos
I,
instead, and so it's just why? And then helmets. I don't know. That to me is like, come on, really?
yeah,
Just to
I get
follow?
what you're saying. I saw it and thought it was very He-Man like.
It's very He-Man
Like,
like.
I
That's
feel
what
like
yeah,
that's
that's
just,
what it looks like. Yep.
like a villain and He-Man because it had, like, yeah, the little booty shorts and, you know, like
Boots with like the
yeah,
the
like a fuzzy
fur.
boot and yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like I think they do have that, right?
they do,
They
yeah.
totally do.
I just
Yeah.
saw that and thought, "Oh, okay, so we're doing a
Oh,
He-Man thing,
they
alright."
have bolos and stone hatchets, but they came in a spaceship. It's like Flash Gordon. It's like like, dude, did you even watch Star Wars? What about what about you? What was yours?
When it's just Nisa, when everybody else is captured and she's, like, gonna go for it and Card comes in and is like, "Take me to the tree," and then she, like, bites his hand, I thought that was just, like, a really weird moment.
Oh
It
yeah.
just seemed she has the spear and everything, like, she could've it's like we're trying to tell this story about, like, Nisa's ready, and they give her this, like, very childish thing to do, and it's the only
Yeah.
time anything like that happens, so I just felt like that was kind of a weird choice in that moment.
Yeah. Maybe that's to show like her tenacity or something.
Maybe.
Because we are kind of spotlighting Nisa this episode.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that was just like a small thing, but yeah, it does. Like, you're a tiny little bear to this guy, and you just bit his hand, like,
It did take him off.
yeah, yeah. What about, your Ichiwawa?
Oh, I mean, it's got to be the Nisa origin. I really liked seeing all that.
Yeah.
I liked seeing Chirfa kind of give her the staff and kind of announce, okay, this is
Mhm.
happening, and then the pushback, and then her kind of like rallying and rising to it and winning everybody over. I just thought that was really cool. In the show,
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of complained a lot in the cartoon about how there was never really a central character, and we didn't get to see a lot of like Wicket was always trying to be a warrior, but most of the time it was like, "Ooh, I tripped and accidentally solved the problem." So, like,
Yeah.
for Nisa to get kind of a star turn here and actually, like, succeed in a cool and heroic way, I felt like, "Yeah, alright."
Yeah, and it wasn't like I feel like in the show when the episodes were about, like, the girls, it was always like, what was that one Latara episode where it's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
well,
okay, this is
it's
about Latara," and it was like, "I like shiny things. Oh, the
right.
gold," and it's just like, ugh,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I just felt like that was just, like, easy thing to do. It was too
They felt
easy to
as I
make
think
that.
especially with Latara, but they did a lot of, like, "Okay, we're gonna do the, quote, girl plot now," and it's
The girl
like,
that's what it
I have
felt
to
like.
find my
Yeah,
makeup," so it was cool that
yeah.
Nisa got a moment that was not that.
And it was her birthday, and, like, this is I mean, I'm assuming now that this is a significant birthday, right? It
Seems
almost
like it.
seems like, okay,
Yeah,
was
like a
this, like,
rite of
her
passage kind of
a rite of
birthday.
passage, or,
Yeah.
like, this is her, okay, now you're 18 years old. Now it's like, "Alright, I'm announcing that, like, she is old enough, and I believe that she's old enough and wise enough that when I am gone," which is kind of creepy. I kinda went back to that frame, and I was just like, "Okay." Like
What about you? What was your Ichiwawa moment? What do you
Me
got?
for me, it was,
Yeah.
Baga.
Yeah.
I can never say
That
that
was
right.
cool. That
It
was
was
an
Baga.
exciting moment. Yeah.
When it was like, Baga, and the girls, "Baga," and I was just like, a
It was pretty cool.
little disappointed at the way Baga looks, but I was very surprised that it was Baga. I thought
Yeah.
that was
Well,
cool.
that kinda looked like '80s My Little Pony. Like, the
Yes.
vibe that was getting, like, the colors and the hair and everything did have kind of
Mhm.
it's sort of that chunky My Little Pony look from that
I
time.
know, in a
Yeah.
comic that has lots of orange, they chose Baga to be pink
Probably like
or
pinky
purple.
purple, sort of,
Pinky
yeah. There was a lot of
purple-ish,
reds
yeah,
and stuff too, so it was kind
lot
of
of
a flashy
reds.
color, but anyway.
Yeah.
Well, how many yub nubs do you give this one?
I kinda liked this one, and I think the plot was simple. I felt like it could have done better with the whole Nisa becoming the chief.
Mm,
That was something because that's something we know is, coming on along
right.
down the line. It would have been fun to progress that storyline a little bit better. I don't know, I'll give it like a 4, 4.5 in there,
Yeah,
maybe 4.25,
yeah,
because I enjoyed it. I did. I really enjoyed it, even with the silly way the pirates were drawn. Because I mean, first
yeah.
of all, they don't even look like pirates.
Yeah,
You
Pirates was
know?
an interesting
We
name
get
for them, wasn't it?
we
Yeah.
get the Mandalorian, right?
Yeah,
Mandalorian season 3, where there are pirates in it, and they literally made them look like sea pirates. And I
right.
was like, "All right, way too far with the whole
Yeah,
pirate thing. We get it.
yes.
Pirates are
But
pirates because of
we coulda used a dash of that here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, they're pirates because of their occupation, not the way they
Okay.
look. Where these guys, it was just like, all right, they look like gladiators to me
Yeah,
almost,
they did. Yep.
So,
Full
but
human.
yeah, I don't know. What about you? What do
Yeah,
you think?
I'm right there. I was kinda honestly I'm on the fence about maybe giving it a 5 because I feel like
Ooh,
I know. I just feel like all the pieces were there. We got to see different things that you know what? I'm gonna say 5. I'm gonna
oh,
say
you
5.
did it.
I think this is the benchmark. We'll
Despite
see.
despite the bite.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
need to like
when you think the worst thing is the bite, that's probably pretty good. I
right,
mean,
that's
that's
what I thought. Yeah.
yeah.
It all looked good. It's good use of characters. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Oh
Yep.
man, it's
We'll see if we're this happy with Droids episode 3 Trigon Unleashed because I haven't been having a good time with the Droids episodes. So
yeah. You know what's funny though? I do like these Ewok comics, but I find them difficult to rate,
yeah,
right? Because
it's
I'm constantly wishing like, oh, this would have been a good episode.
yeah,
Like I probably would have rated this episode pretty high,
yeah.
if it were an actual episode. And I wonder if the scene you didn't like would have been different as an animated
Maybe.
scene rather than, I don't know.
Yeah, they might have been
So-
able to sell it a little better. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a very minor complaint. So I,
and I'm picking apart the smallest things, and
but that's
I
your
do what I
brand.
do.
That's your brand.
That's what I do.
You
That's
have
what I
to.
do. I
You
will
have
find
to.
it, and
I
I will
know.
exploit it.
I know.
I
I know.
will point it out. Oh
I would
man,
never doubt you. I would never doubt you.
the fur
Okay.
boots, man. The
I know.
fur
Those fur boots. Yep. They knew what they were doing when they made those fur boots. They
Hey,
did
can
their
you go
best.
back to the spaceship and get my stone hatchet?
Yep.
I forgot it.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
why don't we just make you a new one here and just plenty of rocks and sticks? Like, yeah, oh man.
Oh, okay. Well, we're done with Ewoks for this week, and so watch
Yes,
along with us. Droids Episode 3, Trigon Unleashed. That's what we're talking about next time. I'll see you then, my friend.
I will see you then.
Oh, felt like a threat.
Oh, well, don't threaten me with a good time. Don't you?
I'm not-
Don't you
I'm not sure.
threaten me with a good
I don't
time?
know.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure.
I'll see you then.
Okay.
This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include Previously on X-Men, 90s Music Got Me Like, and 9021 Here We Go! Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter at Endorian Life. And please rate, subscribe, and share the show wherever you get your podcasts.